iPad, iPad mini, Apple Watch Series 7, iPhone 13 series. Apple announced all of this in one go at their California streaming event, and I'm ready to talk about it. Let's go. Hello and welcome to Nandan Talks Tech. I'm Nandan. Today we're talking about Apple's latest crop of product updates. Starting with the iPad, the budget iPad. It is a low-cost iPad and the last of the line remaining that still carries a home button and a lightning port. They've updated it now with the A13 processor from the iPhone from 2 years ago, an ultra-wide camera in the front for center stage during FaceTime or Zoom calls, and a True Tone display. Apple says it's their most popular iPad, and that's because it's also their cheapest. It still doesn't carry over the laminate display that the Air has had for quite a while, but it's definitely the cheapest iPad you can get your hands on and into the Apple ecosystem. It's even cheaper than the iPad mini. The True Tone display is especially great for reading in different kinds of light conditions, where the display matches the color of the page to ambient light to reduce eye strain. Gone is a 32GB model, and it now comes in 64 or 256GB in silver or space gray. It's still the cheapest iPad you can buy, cheaper even than the iPad mini, which also gets updated this year and now gets a completely new redesign, now matching the iPad Air and the iPad Pro lineup, with flat bezels on the sides, an edge-to-edge liquid retina display, a fully laminated touchscreen, support for Apple Pencil 2, and Touch ID in the power button. Gone is the home button Touch ID, and gone is the lightning port, now replaced by USB-C. It also comes in space gray, but other options available now are purple, pink, and starlight. The internals of the iPad mini have been upgraded to the A15 chip, the same chip introduced in the iPhone 13, and it also supports 5G, making it significantly more powerful than the iPad Air. The display size goes all the way up to 8.3 inches diagonally, with a liquid retina display and a peak brightness of 500 nits. The front camera also gets center stage capability, and the rear camera gets upgraded to a 12 megapixel sensor with a 4 LED flash. It also gets stereo speakers in landscape mode for better entertainment value. The iPad mini as a standalone device seems great. It's light, portable, easy to carry around, all-day battery life, super powerful. Then there's the Apple Watch Series 7. This is the first time that Apple has not introduced a new system on a chip on the Apple Watch, carrying over the S6 from last year's Apple Watch Series 6. There were rumors of a redesign coming this year, with the Apple Watch adopting the design language of the iPad Pro, flatter edges on the sides, a flatter glass on top. However, it doesn't seem that it's happened this year. In fact, during the presentation, they specifically pointed out that the Apple Watch this year had more rounded corners. It does get a larger display with reduced bezels, increasing the length by 1mm on each of the models, taking the 40mm up to 41 and the 44mm size to 45mm. They say they've added a stronger glass on the front to prevent it from shattering, but no word yet on how it will hold up against scratches. The battery charger now comes with the USB-C ports as standard, which allows for up to 33% faster charging on the Series 7. However, the battery life remains the same. They say it's up to 18 hours, but I don't think you'll get that with the always-on display set to on. On my Series 6, I can barely get through one day with the always-on display off and usually a workout in. Like last year, there are 4 new iPhone models this year: the iPhone 13 mini, the iPhone 13, iPhone 13 Pro, and iPhone 13 Pro Max. While the updates are all seemingly under the hood, and it does seem quite like an S here, they weren't going to call their flagship the iPhone 12s Pro Max. And so it seems they've dropped the S moniker from their nomenclature altogether. And unlike last year, there are significant differences between the 13 and the 13 Pro this year. Across the board, all phones have bigger batteries, making all of them slightly thicker and heavier than last year. The iPhone 13 mini and the 13 Pro get up to an hour and a half longer battery than last year's models, and the 13 and the 13 Pro Max get up to 2.5 hours more. They've reduced the size of the notch by about 20% by moving the earpiece speaker up to the top of the glass, and it now rests between the glass and the metal frame. I've been fairly used to the notch ever since I first got it on the iPhone 10, and we'll see what real difference such a reduction makes, if any. They also all get the upgraded A15 Bionic chip. However, the Pros get the model with an extra GPU core enabled. The iPhone 13 and 13 mini get the wide and ultra-wide cameras from last year's iPhone 12 Pro Max, with the wide lens getting the sensor shift technology for faster, sharper photos. There's also slight improvements in the ultra-wide lens performance. These cameras can also now record 4K up to 60 frames per second, just like last year's 12 Pro models. The OLEDs are now brighter with up to 800 nits of brightness in daylight, And the A15 Bionic also enables two new features in these phones. The first is photographic styles, which allows you to customize a look in your camera. You can choose from 5 different options like vibrant or high contrast or cool or warm, and then fine-tune it to your liking. This is different from filters in the sense that it doesn't affect skin tone, unlike a filter which changes the whole photograph. However, unlike a filter, you have to select this before you take the photograph, and it cannot be changed after the fact. Photographic styles would help seamlessly customize a particular look that you want to create for all your photographs. This setting gets baked into your phone and it stays there. You can of course always change it every time, but you don't have to, and you can create your own signature look like this. The second feature comes to video recording and is called cinematic mode, which is a lot like portrait mode but for video. It allows you to blur the background of a video and focus on a particular subject. However, at this time it's limited to 1080p at 30 frames per second, no 24 frames per second, and no 4K. Apple talked a lot about this feature during their presentation. I think they were not able to get the A15's performance up there quite yet. During the entire presentation, not once did they mention how much faster the A15 is compared to the last year's A14 processor. They only mentioned up to 50% faster than some vague competition. Both of these camera features are also available on the iPhone 13 Pro lineup, which this year is significantly different from the regular 13. This year, both the Pro and the Pro Max have identical camera systems. The new focus pixels on the ultra-wide lens allow the camera to shoot macro photography, getting as close as 2 centimeters to the subject, and this is even available in video. All 3 lenses now have night mode, and the large wide-angle sensor now captures up to 2.2 times more light for better photos and videos at night. Even the ultra-wide, which was the weakest lens of all, gets an upgrade and now captures up to 92% more light. The same photographic styles and cinematic mode from the iPhone 13 and 13 mini also come to the 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max. But the Pros also get the ability to record ProRes video, which is a highly uncompressed format of video, similar to ProRAW for photographs. It's supposed to make easy work of editing video, especially in programs like Final Cut. But if you don't know what ProRes video is, you should not be concerned with it at all. ProRes video is available at 4K up to 30 frames per second in all the Pro models except for the lower storage tier of 128GB, where it's limited to 1080p at 30 frames per second. Another difference in the Pro models this year is the OLED displays. Now they go up to 1000 nits in brightness as standard, and they also support Apple's patented technology ProMotion, which allows for a variable adaptive refresh rate between 10Hz and 120Hz. This allows for significantly smoother motion when scrolling and significantly saves battery life. This year's iPhone Pro models come in the same silver, graphite and gold models as last year, but the Pacific Blue gets replaced by a lighter Sierra Blue. And storage options go from 120 gigabits all the way up to 1 terabyte, which will be useful if you're actually shooting ProRes video. But still, this year's iPhone continues to use the Lightning port, which is limited to USB 2.0 speeds. Transferring data files such as ProRes RAW will take forever. But there are a total of 12 devices that Apple has released this year alone which have the Lightning port and not USB-C. So I don't think the Lightning is getting replaced by USB-C anytime soon. That's it from me today. I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, do give it a thumbs up down below. And don't forget to hit subscribe, because I will be unboxing the new iPhone 13 in Sierra Blue as soon as I get it, followed by a full review. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye.